Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive into the world of keto breads.
Ooh.
Specifically, we're going to be looking at Kelley Herring's book, Keto Breads, Your Guide to Baking Grain-Free Keto Bread.
I love that.
So she's not just giving us like a cookbook.
Right.
She's really going deep into why we should be considering this and how bread that we think is healthy maybe isn't so much.
Yeah, I think that's a really great place to start because I think a lot of people listening are probably like me and they're thinking, well, I eat whole wheat bread.
Yeah.
I eat pretty healthy. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
But she's really challenging that assumption right from the beginning.
Well, yeah, she comes right out and says traditional bread is a health risk.
Yeah, and she really makes a really compelling case for that.
Yeah, and one of the most interesting things is this idea that bread can be addictive.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of that?
I have, but I was really skeptical when I first heard it.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, come on, bread, it's just, flour and water. How can that be addictive?
Yeah.
But she explains that there are these compounds in bread like gluteomorphins and amylopectin A.
Okay, I was wondering about those.
Yeah, they actually trigger similar reactions in our brains as addictive substances.
Really?
It's because they interact with opioid receptors and cause these dopamine surges.
So like drugs.
Yeah, kind of. It's wild, right?
Yeah.
Like, so those warm, fuzzy feelings we get when we eat bread.
Like a fresh loaf of bread.
Exactly. Like, that's not just about taste. There's a deeper, like, almost chemical connection happening there.
It's like we're programmed to want it.
Exactly. And it makes so much sense now why it's so hard to resist bread, even when we're trying to be healthy.
You know what else blew my mind?
What?
She talks about how pizza is like a double whammy.
Oh, yeah.
Because cheese has casomorphins.
Right.
Which also affect the brain.
Yes. So you got the bread and the cheese, and you're like, this is the best thing ever.
A double dose of those good feelings.
Exactly. So next time you're reaching for that extra slice of pizza,
Think about it.
think about the casomorphins.
Okay, so we know bread might be addictive. But what's the actual harm?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Herring argues that even whole wheat bread can negatively impact our health.
Really?
Because of its high glycemic index.
So that means it causes rapid spikes in blood sugar,
That's right.
which can lead to inflammation and oxidation in the body.
Exactly. And over time, these processes can increase the risk of developing chronic diseases.
That's wild, and I never realized that the blood sugar spike from 2 slices of whole wheat bread was similar to that of a can of soda.
I know, me neither. It's crazy, right? And then there's the issue of gut damage.
Yeah.
Which she says can happen even without noticeable symptoms.
So what, like silent damage?
That's what she calls it. And it really challenges that idea that if you don't have digestive problems after eating bread,
Right. If you don't feel it,
right, then everything must be fine.
but that's not true.
Not necessarily. She mentions that many people with celiac disease don't have digestive symptoms,
Oh, really?
but they still experience damage to their gut.
That's scary.
It is, so it's not always a clear-cut case.
So how is that happening? It can't all be gluten sensitivity.
Well, she points to something called wheat germ agglutinin.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's often shortened to WGA.
WGA.
It's a lectin found in wheat, and it can cause a whole host of issues.
So that's like the real villain here.
Pretty much, according to Herring, she describes it as cardiotoxic.
So that means it's harmful to the heart.
Right. Immunotoxic, meaning it can mess with the immune system.
Wow.
And even cytotoxic and neurotoxic.
Okay, so we're talking cell damage and nervous system problems.
Exactly. It's pretty serious stuff.
This little molecule is packing a punch.
It is, and one of the most concerning things about WGA is that it can mimic insulin.
So it's messing with our hormones.
Exactly, and that can lead to increased fat storage and hinder fat burning.
So bread could actually be making it harder to lose weight.
Right, it's kind of counterintuitive.
Yes, it really is.
And the impact of WGA doesn't stop there. It can also interfere with leptin.
Leptin.
Yeah, the hormone that tells us we're full.
Oh, so that's why you can eat a whole loaf of bread and still be hungry.
It could be a factor for sure.
You're just not getting the right signals from your body.
Yeah, so you end up eating more than you need.
This is really making me rethink my bread habit.
Me too. It's definitely eye-opening.
So what do? We can't eat bread with gluten. What about gluten-free bread?
Well, that's where things get even trickier.
Oh, no.
Herring actually cautions against just blindly swapping to gluten-free options.
Really?
Yeah, she exposes the hidden dangers lurking in a lot of those commercial gluten-free breads.
Like what?
Well, they're often packed with unhealthy ingredients like preservatives,
No.
inflammatory oils, and even lectins from other sources like rice, corn, and beans.
So even gluten-free bread could have those lectins in it.
Exactly. It's not a simple fix.
So it's not just about avoiding gluten.
It's about choosing truly healthy ingredients and being really mindful about what you're buying.
Yeah.
And to make things even more complicated,
Okay.
many gluten-free breads have a high glycemic index, which can contribute to weight gain.
Oh, so we're back to the blood sugar spikes.
Yep. And then there's the concern about arsenic levels in rice flour and syrup.
Really?
Yeah, those are common ingredients in gluten-free products.
So it sounds like navigating the world of bread can be a real minefield.
It can be, but that's where Kelley Herring comes in with her solution, keto breads.
Okay, I was wondering when we were going to get to that.
Yeah, so she shares her own personal journey with health issues,
Oh, okay.
which led her to years of research and experimentation in search of truly healthy and delicious bread.
So she's not just a chef. She's coming at this from a place of personal experience.
Exactly, and that experience led her to develop this whole collection of keto-friendly bread recipes.
That's what this book is all about, right?
Right, and it's called keto breads.
Okay, so we know the problems with regular bread and even gluten-free bread.
But what makes keto bread so special?
Well, keto breads are grain-free, low-carb, and rich in healthy fats.
Okay.
So they align perfectly with the principles of a ketogenic diet.
So if you're doing keto, you don't have to give up bread.
Exactly. You can still enjoy those familiar flavors and textures.
But without all the negative consequences.
Right. And she doesn't just offer like one basic recipe.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I saw a preview of the book, and it's filled with all sorts of delicious-looking breads.
Yeah.
From sandwich bread and burger buns to pizza crusts and bagels.
Wow.
There's a lot of variety there.
So you can still enjoy all your favorite bread-based meals.
Exactly.
But in a way that's actually good for you.
Got the idea.
I have to be honest, though. I'm not much of a baker.
I hear you.
Is this something anyone can do?
Well, that's a great question, and it's something Herring addresses directly in the book.
Oh, good.
She emphasizes the simplicity of her recipes and the minimal prep time required.
So even someone with a busy schedule can make this work. That's right. She understands that people have busy lives.
Mm-hmm.
And she wants to make healthy baking as accessible as possible.
That's awesome.
She also stresses the importance of using precise measurements and following clear instructions for success.
So it's not about guesswork.
Not at all. She lays out a clear path to follow.
So you don't have to be a master baker.
Nope. She provides tons of helpful tips and tricks throughout the book to ensure that anyone, regardless of their baking expertise, can create these delicious and healthy breads.
Okay, so even I can do this.
I think so.
But do we know if people are actually having success with these recipes?
Yes. She shares tons of positive testimonials and customer feedback in the book.
Oh, good.
People are raving about the taste, the simplicity, and how much these breads have helped them stick to their health goals.
That's amazing.
It really is. It's inspiring to see that it's not just a concept.
Right.
It's actually working for people.
So Kelley Herring has really cracked the code on healthy bread.
I think so.
Yeah. She's found a way to enjoy those familiar flavors without compromising our well-being.
Right. And if you're ready to embark on a healthier, tastier journey with bread, you can click the link in the description to learn more about Kelley Herring's keto breads.
Definitely check it out.
It's a compelling invitation to rethink our relationship with bread.
And discover a whole new world of delicious possibilities.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not about deprivation, it's about finding that balance, right? And I think what's really impressive is the amount of research Herring brings to the table.
Yeah, she really goes deep into the science.
Yeah, she doesn't just rely on anecdotes.
Uh-huh.
She cites all these studies to support her claims.
It's almost like reading a textbook at times.
Right, but in a good way.
Yeah, in a very approachable way.
Right, exactly. And her discussion on lectins was really eye-opening for me.
Yeah, we talked about those a little bit earlier.
Yeah, and I was surprised to learn how much they can really mess with our bodies.
Yeah, like how they can interfere with nutrient absorption and disrupt hormonal balance, and even contribute to autoimmune responses.
Right. It really highlights the importance of understanding how different foods affect us individually.
Yeah, because what works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly. So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Right. We really need to pay attention to how different foods make us feel.
And adjust our choices accordingly.
And I think Kelley Herring gives us a great framework for doing just that.
Absolutely. She encourages readers to be more conscious and informed eaters.
Yeah.
To experiment in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And understand the properties of different ingredients so they can really tailor their baking to their needs.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So it's about taking control of our health.
Right, and making choices that support our well-being.
So have you tried any of her recipes yourself?
I have. Actually, I recently made her cloud bread recipe,
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one.
and it was surprisingly delicious.
Really?
Yeah, it's so light and fluffy and has this subtle sweetness that makes it perfect for breakfast or a snack.
Does it really taste like bread?
Well, it's not exactly like traditional bread,
Right.
but it definitely satisfies that craving.
And the texture really is cloud-like.
It is. It lives up to its name.
And it's made with just a few simple ingredients, right?
Yep. Super easy to make.
I was really impressed with the recipe.
Yeah, she manages to pack so much flavor into something so simple and healthy.
So these recipes aren't just good for you. They actually taste good, too.
That's right. And that's what makes her approach so appealing.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like a compromise, you know?
Right.
You get to enjoy the foods you love without sacrificing your health goals.
And she doesn't just stick to loaves of bread.
Right. She has recipes for everything.
From burger buns and pizza crusts to
Yeah.
biscuits and bagels.
I know, it's amazing, right? She even has a grain-free cornbread recipe.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It's amazing how she uses alternative ingredients to recreate those familiar flavors and textures.
That's what I love about it. You don't have to miss out on anything.
Exactly. And throughout the book, she offers tons of helpful tips and guidance.
Yeah, that's what makes it so great for people who aren't experienced bakers.
Right. She addresses common baking challenges like flatbreads or dense textures and provides clear solutions.
She even talks about how to avoid that eggy flavor.
Yes, which can be a problem with some grain-free baking.
I've definitely had that happen.
It's so helpful to have that kind of guidance.
Yeah, it's like having a personal baking coach right there with you.
And she doesn't just stop at the baking itself.
Oh, right.
She also gives advice on storing your breads to keep them fresh
Okay.
and suggests ways to repurpose leftovers.
Oh, that's great. Like what?
Well, she has a tip for making croutons out of stale bread.
Oh, that's smart.
Right.
You can reduce waste and have a crunchy topping for salads.
Exactly.
Love that.
And something that really stood out to me was her emphasis on using high-quality ingredients.
Yeah, she's very specific about what she uses.
Yeah, she focuses on nutritional value, taste, and how well those ingredients will function in the recipe.
So it's not just about finding any random gluten-free flour.
Right. She recommends things like almond flour, coconut flour, flaxseed meal,
Yeah.
and healthy fats.
It's really a more holistic approach to baking.
Exactly. She's taking into account both taste and well-being.
And she even gives tips on sourcing those ingredients.
Yeah, she suggests online retailers and bulk buying options, which can be helpful because those specialty ingredients can get pricey.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It shows that she's really thinking about the practical considerations that people might have.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And she even includes a section on substitutions for common allergens like eggs, nuts, and dairy.
Oh, that's really helpful.
Right, so her recipes are accessible to more people.
It really seems like she's gone above and beyond to make this a comprehensive resource for healthy baking.
I think so. And what I find really admirable is her ability to bridge that gap between science and practicality.
Yeah, she takes all that complex information
Yeah.
and breaks it down into easy-to-understand language.
Right, so it's not intimidating.
Yeah, it feels very approachable and engaging.
It's like having that friend who can explain complicated things and get you excited about it.
Yeah, she's not just lecturing.
She's having a conversation with you.
Right.
And sharing her passion and knowledge in a way that makes you want to learn more and try it yourself.
And it's clearly resonating with people.
Yeah, the book is full of testimonials from readers who have had success with her recipes and have seen positive changes in their health.
That's so inspiring.
It shows how something as simple as baking bread can really have a ripple effect.
Yeah, impacting not just our physical health, but our overall outlook on food and well-being.
Right. It all comes back to making informed choices and taking control of our health.
By understanding the science behind our food choices,
Yeah, we can empower ourselves to make decisions that really support our well-being.
and Kelley Herring really gives us the tools and knowledge to do that.
Absolutely.
Her book, Keto Breads, is a valuable resource for anyone who wants to enjoy bread in a healthier, more mindful way.
Yeah, it's a reminder that we don't have to sacrifice taste or satisfaction to achieve our health goals.
And in fact, by making smarter choices, we can actually enhance our enjoyment of food and our overall quality of life.
Right, and that's such an important message, especially today when we're bombarded with conflicting information about food and nutrition.
It can be so overwhelming.
Yeah, and Kelley Herring cuts through all that noise. She provides a clear, evidence-based approach,
Yeah.
empowering us to make decisions that align with our values and goals.
And she does it with this enthusiasm and joy that's contagious.
I know, you can really feel her passion for this.
Yeah, it makes healthy eating feel exciting and achievable.
Right. It's not about restriction or deprivation.
It's about finding that joy in food again.
And finding ways to nourish ourselves that supports our overall well-being.
And that's what makes this deep dive into Kelley Herring's keto breads so compelling.
Yeah, it's not just about bread.
It's about taking a more conscious and informed approach to our food choices.
And understanding the impact those choices have on our bodies.
And finding ways to nourish ourselves so we can truly thrive.
Exactly. Yeah, it's about finding a lifestyle that works for you, that lets you enjoy food and be healthy at the same time.
It shouldn't feel like a chore.
Right. Exactly. And I think this book, Keto Breads, is a great tool for anyone who wants to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about a lot of the concepts in the book, but I was really blown away by how comprehensive it is.
Me too. It's so much more than just a cookbook.
It's like a keto baking Bible.
Right. She walks you through everything.
You really get a keto baking education.
Exactly. And I love that she covers everything from the essential ingredients and equipment to troubleshooting tips and storage advice.
I thought the section on gluten-free flours was super helpful.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Because there are so many out there.
I know, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, and she breaks down like how they behave in baking.
Which is really important.
Especially for someone like me who's new to this whole grain-free thing.
Yeah, it really takes the guesswork out of it.
And she doesn't just tell you what to do.
Right.
She explains why you're doing it.
Yeah, she gets into the science behind each ingredient and technique.
It's like she's right there in the kitchen with you.
I know. It's like having a personal baking instructor.
I really liked her tips on adjusting the recipes based on your own preferences.
Oh, yeah?
Like if you want a crispier crust or a softer crumb.
Yeah, she gives you options.
It's good.
She wants you to be able to make the bread exactly how you like it.
And she really addresses those common baking challenges.
Like the flatbreads.
Yes.
Or the dense textures.
Eggy flavor.
Yeah, it's like she's anticipated all the problems you might run into.
It makes you feel so much more confident going into it.
Yeah, and she doesn't just leave you hanging after you've baked the bread.
What do you mean?
She gives you advice on how to store it to keep it fresh.
Oh, okay.
And she even suggests creative ways to use up any leftovers.
I remember she had that tip about making croutons out of stale bread.
Yeah, that's genius.
Such a good idea.
It's practical and delicious.
And it's less waste.
Exactly.
So you're getting the most out of your bake.
And speaking of deliciousness, have you noticed how good her recipes actually are?
I was going to say the same thing.
Like, these don't taste like health food?
No, they taste like real bread.
Like the bread we all grew up with.
But without all the junk.
It's amazing what she's been able to do.
It's pretty incredible.
It really is.
I think this deep dive into keto breads has been really eye-opening.
Yeah, me too.
It's so inspiring to see how Kelley Herring is helping people reclaim their love of bread without having to sacrifice their health.
And I think it's a good reminder that healthy eating doesn't have to be boring or restrictive.
We can still enjoy our favorite foods.
Yeah, just in a way that supports our well-being.
Exactly.
So if you're ready to give keto breads a try,
You should.
we highly recommend checking out Kelley Herring's book, Keto Breads.
You can find a link in the description below.
It's a game changer.
And that's it for today's deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.